Whatever you expect in life is what you get in life. Really. Whenever you expect whatever you're expecting to happen in your life, well, reality wants to match that. If you are putting out negative thoughts, then you're going to get negative thoughts. If you are putting out positive thoughts, you're going to pick up positivity. Now, granted, sometimes you're going to pick up some like stray things along the way, but for the most part, yeah, you're going to attract what you put out. Okay? So if you're putting out like very positive vibes, the other people who like have positive vibes, I'm serious. You'll be like walking through somewhere and like they'll just like look up and see you. And you'll see them and it's kinda like you both just know. And like the people who have like the negative vibes, they just don't even really know you're there half the time. Or you're infuriating to them. That one's a big one. Like people who are like negative and committed to like misunderstanding you. See, if you're like a high vibe and positive person, you will actually like set off kind of the lower vibrational people. And they think that it's something wrong with you. And they don't realize that it's them. Okay? Like a lot of times, and those people, like you'll just be high vibing along, enjoying your day, kind of be bopping along, and those people are just like, I don't like him. And they don't. Like low vibing people who live down there in the anger and hate area, yeah, they don't like people who are smiling and enjoying their day and saying, hey, I know life's good. Because you also have another end, people have these people walking around, life sucks, I can't stand this. And I've been there before. So yeah, I understand what I'm talking about here. Uh, if you like attracts like, whatever you are, you attract more of the same. And whenever you're around negativity, like people who are negative, if you'll notice, they like kind of all flock together. And like people who are positive, kind of flock together. You don't have a whole lot of like intermingling. And that's how it's hard to like change. Like, you know, you've heard about the crabs in the bucket mentality. Like crabs in a bucket. If you got a bunch of crabs in a bucket and one crab tries to crawl over the top, the other crabs make sure they pull that crab back in because they don't want that crab getting out of the bucket. And it's like us. That's why people that like don't want you to change. And some of them don't really know that they don't want you to. It's not a conscious decision on some of them. A lot of them, it's a subconscious decision. But also, too, it's like this. Some people, people want to see you do good in life, but they just don't want to see you do better than them. Okay? That's a harsh truth that nobody wants to hear. You know, people want you to do good, but just not better than them. And that's hard to, like, think. You think, oh, I want the best for people. Well, just because you want the best for people does not mean that they want the best for you. So you've got to like realize this, recognize this, and address this. You know, and you want to make sure that like the people you're around want the best for you and are not like sabotaging you. And yeah, it does happen. Like there's some people that'll be like, they think that you're uppity. Well, no, you're just a happy person. Or you don't really just want to engage in whatever conversation they are. And they decide, well, I'm going to be the karma for them. They don't like you. They do not like your type. So they decide they want to be your karma. So they decide to go at it, and eh, it gets pretty nasty sometimes. That's why those people like that. You've got to figure out who the people are in your life that truly want the best for you. Keep them around. And the ones who act like they want the best for you but really don't, they got to go. If you want your life to get better, the people that you're around have to change too. Okay, if you're around people who want to like drag you down, guess what? those people who drag you down, they've got to go. You've got to be around people who are high vibing and happy if you want to be high vibing and happy. Okay? And it's like this. Now, once you get to the high vibing and happy, God will start using you to kind of spread the high vibe and happy. But you've got to get solid in you first. And, for a little while, it takes some time. And it takes a while for the things to start sinking in to start getting you to that point in life. It starts taking a while for the change to happen. It can happen pretty fast though. But like some people that it happens fast for, they went through a lot and they were trying to change it before and the pieces just never would line up. And I'm not saying it has to be a total struggle, but usually you have to go through a lot of pain to elicit change. Okay? So pain is a motivator, we'll say. Pain is what motivates us to change because without pain, we're going to, if you've got everything going pretty, decent enough for you, you're not motivated to change. You're not motivated to change at all. You're like, well, I'm kind of comfort. Comfort zone is like the killer of self-improvement. If you're kind of comfortable, you're kind of at that point in life where you're like, it's not great, but it's not bad. I can tolerate this. That's like the worst place you can ever be in life because you'll tolerate bullshit that you wouldn't ever tolerate otherwise because you're like, I'm comfortable. I don't want to rock the boat. Unless you rock the boat that you're in, the boat that you're piloting, unless you rock that thing every once in a while, guess what? You're never going to break through. And if you want to break through, you have got to give it all. You've got to give everything your all effort, and you've got to commit to it. And the first way of committing to it is like making sure that like the people that you are around, making sure that they are committed to you and you're committed to them. That's one thing that like I've noticed, like that's why you have to like basically for a while like remove people from your life and then start adding them back in. You've got to strip down to the basic you. Strip down to, we're stripping all the layers off. We got to strip down and see what we actually have sitting here. And sometimes you got to change everything about you. And then sometimes it's like there's just a few things that need a tweaking that were like causing the problem all along, and it really wasn't like that major of a thing. Like some people just don't like have a good things just don't happen to them sometimes because they're just out of alignment of hair, and it doesn't take much. It's not that they're bad people; it's just they're not able to see the bigger picture sometimes and realize, hey, that I'm, my ability to want better. I've just got to realize, hey, I just need to change the way I'm looking at this thing a little. And once you align things with a better version of you, hey, things can flow in pretty fast. And you'll think the change was easy, but really it took you a long time to get there because you had to go through the pain to motivate you to get there. And if you don't like go through that pain and motivation, hey, that's just how you go with it. You've got to go. It takes what it takes to get us to where we can change in life, where we're willing to change in life. Being willing to change is the biggest part of the battle. And, once the willingness is there, you've still got to follow through with action. And the action comes from within. And, like, once you start realizing that this stuff does work and, like, changing your point of view will change your life, once you see just a little bit of it, then you're sold on the idea. Because you've got to see a little bit of return on your investment. And once you see that, hey, I started noticing this a while back that, hey, it didn't take like after about a month of kind of rewiring myself, I already had everything in there. I just couldn't get it meshed together. Okay. And like if you can't get it meshed together sometimes, if you can't get that everything meshed together, it just takes a while sometimes. And it's like you don't think that everything's going to fit together when all you just kind of had to like shuffle the pieces around just a little bit and you could see the picture. And God sometimes wants us to. God, if God doesn't want you to see the picture at that time, you are not going to see the picture. That's just how it is. And sometimes God needs you to stay hidden for a while because God sometimes needs us for jobs that, well, it's kind of like God doesn't want us out yet. God doesn't want us into the positivity where people start noticing us. God kind of sometimes needs us hidden from others before, he kind of needs his weapons hidden. And, the people who are high-vibing and putting off love and light, yeah, we're the ones that God needs for certain tasks. So you got to remember that, whenever God wants you to start seeing the pieces, that's when you're going to start seeing the pieces. All right, seeing the whole picture of it. And the little pieces that didn't make sense, they can all like go real quick then. Everything can just fit together. They can fit like a hand in a glove. It's all about realizing that the problem is you and figuring out that, hey, and then sometimes you got to like realize that, hey, I've got to attract different people here. And some people you just got to set boundaries with in your life. Some people, they, if they're like spewing negativity and it's people you still have to be around, you just got to set boundaries and say, hey, I don't care. And that's how you have to be because you've got to protect you at all costs. You have to protect you. And at first, you're protecting like a newborn baby, basically, because you're sitting there and you're like, you start feeling this and you're like, I'm not going to lose this. And in order to do this, you make sure you don't miss it. Okay? You make sure everything just like goes good in life. So, you just got to like look at things and realize that, hey, it's going to be okay. But you've got to at first set boundaries with people. Okay? And once you set those boundaries with people, if they respect it, fine. But if they don't respect your boundaries, then you take more drastic actions. Because you've got to protect you. Because unless you protect you and make you a priority, no one else is going to. You're the only person coming to save you. And once you realize that, life can get better and you can then look at how things can work. Anyway, I love you. God loves you. Peace.